2015, I was diagnosed with liver cancer, and at that point, a good friend of mine started pushing me to get a campaign going to find a living donor. I was kind of a little bit in denial, or a lot in denial, saying I would be fine. Lo and behold, between my wife, Lori, and John from Over Above, said, we're going to start a campaign. So they started robsjourney.com.
This was a project at work. You know, I was working on this and coming up with tactics and ideas for the family to... I had met Rob and Lori a couple of times. It just so happened that I started to actually pay closer attention to the details of the project I was working on and realized that I was a blood type match. So I went home and I kind of sat with that idea in my head for a couple days, or actually one day. I just kind of, in the back of my head, I knew that I was a blood type match, which is the first step to being a living donor. And, you know, while I knew that, I also had the thought in the back of my head that maybe I could do this. It's a very rigorous testing process to become a living donor, or to be approved to be a living donor. It's not just physical. You also meet with a social worker. You meet with a psychiatry team. They want to make sure that you're of sound mind and that you're making these decisions for the right reasons. The surgeon makes sure that you understand that there can be dire consequences from this. But at the same time, they also talk about how many times they've done this before and that this is not an uncommon thing. Because again, I came into this not even knowing that the liver regenerates or that you can donate it. Have learned so much throughout this process.
The reason I'm doing as well and I've rebounded so well is because of a living donor. You know, deceased, the cadaver liver could potentially have problems when someone's dying and the liver is already starting to shut down. There's things that happen to it, so it's not as healthy. When you take a living donor, you're going right from one room right to the next room. A warm part of the anatomy is going right in, so it's definitely makes a big difference. That's one thing that needs to be stated, that living donors make a difference on your recovery and longevity. Clearly, you're going to have a longer life and a healthier life by a living donor.
Our family has felt so much love as being part of this. And that's why I really want to help tell this story to as many people as possible. And I want to be a resource for other potential donors so they can see, you know, I'm going to run a half marathon in 2 weeks. Right. You know, and I feel totally fine. I've been running a lot. I've been out for a 14-mile run, an 8-mile run, and I'm almost back to the same pace I was before being cut open for all this.
It might even be better now.
Yeah.
Bottom line is a lot of people don't make it out of this, or out of this having liver cancer, and they die. More people die than live. So I'm starting to realize how lucky and fortunate I really am. It's all thanks to Ryan.